does this mean that there will be no discussion during this ministerial meeting of the political military consequences of the British decisions or proposals?
All I can say on that is there is no such item on the agenda, and I very much doubt whether it is the subject of consideration by the Council as a whole. There may be talks between ministers affected, but I do not foresee it appearing in any form on the agenda.
Drake? It said the whole military setup will be reviewed. Does this include the question as to whether or not the new German army will be equipped with tactical and other atomic weapons?
The military will put up their proposals. It is for each government to say whether they agree to those proposals or not. Whether a government is or is not equipped with atomic weapons is entirely a decision of that government.
A German representative to the standing group is on the agenda of the ministerial meeting or has been considered by the Permanent Council.
The question of military organization will not be considered at all at this meeting. The question of the organization of the higher structure of our military, on the military side, is under consideration at the moment, but not in the specific terms that you have asked the question. There is a question, we are considering the whole problem of whether the higher structure of military organization can be improved or not, but not in the specific terms of adding or subtracting anyone from the standing group. I am convinced today, as I was 5 years ago, that this alliance is the best, if not the only hope, of preserving the peace of the world. NATO is not a kind of super-state. It cannot do this and it cannot do that. It is the sum of the nations which belong to it. And like all teams, it has to move at the rate of the slowest. Many other things, no doubt, that should have been done. But there are all the same many things on the credit side. First of all, as I never tire of repeating, peace has been preserved. Soviet expansion westwards in Europe has been halted. Not a square inch of territory in Europe has fallen beneath the Russian heel since the treaty was signed.
Thank you, sir.
Had circulated a short note of what I would have said if I could speak German, French, and English. But I thought it'd be rather boring to have it all translated, and so I have just is not for the purpose of making specific decisions on any specific point. It is a meeting of foreign ministers for an exchange of views on all matters which affect the alliance directly or indirectly. So there is no question, so far as I can see, so far as you can foresee the outcome of a conference, very many unexpected things.
British cuts.
I am quite sure that the detail of any recent British cuts will not be considered this conference because it is at present under consideration by NATO and in particular by NATO's military advisors. That is to say, the military committee, the standing group, SACA, SACLANT, and Channel Command. The whole thing has been remitted to them for the moment for a complete reappraisal.
The question is, the minister said on Monday, was quoted saying on Monday that the problem of equipping national forces with atomic weapons was to be settled by NATO as a whole.
But here we get...
No, I think what it is about your boss's intentions.
My bosses?
Your member countries.
Oh.
I don't think you do.
As I see Cyprus, the very important thing is that it should remain a part of the free world and that it should be available for NATO forces if required. How that should be done, under what constitution, really would be very foolish to venture an opinion because I don't know enough about it. Well, will you excuse me, ladies and gentlemen? Because I feel that I'm getting too old to do the job properly. And I give up on the 14th of May, and the Council is extraordinarily lucky, the Alliance is extraordinarily lucky in having a man of Mr. Sparks' ability, experience, and qualifications to take the helm of this ship when I go. My friend has asked what my own plans are. Well, there are many. The main thing is I want to get back to my farm and see if I can lose less money on it than I've lost before. The second thing is I have a lot of voluntary work to do in England, such as the blind and veterans, the British Legion, and I'm on various educational boards, and I might perhaps in the dim distant future try and write my memoirs. Fighting as one team, it'd be very difficult for one unit in that team to be equipped and armed in quite a different way to the rest. What is quite certain is this, that our alliance could never oppose in sheer numbers the might that Soviet Russia could bring against us without the use of the nuclear weapon. And that is the reason why the Council decided that in the event of an all-out aggression, nuclear weapons will be used, reserving the decision as a political one.
General.
To speak. Mr. President, this is the last occasion on which I shall attend a ministerial conference as Secretary General. And I'm very grateful to you, Mr. President, for allowing me to say a few words. I'm also deeply grateful to you, Mr. Federal Chancellor, for your kind references to my work for NATO. As I look back upon the 5 years of my stewardship, I am very conscious that I have left undone much that I ought to have done. But NATO as a whole has outstanding achievements to its credit. In the first place, the primary purpose of the North Atlantic Treaty has been fulfilled. Peace has been preserved. Soviet expansion westward has been halted. Not a square inch of territory has fallen in Europe, has fallen under Russian domination since the signing of the treaty. Now, must acquire more and more the habit of looking at problems from an international rather than a national point of view. I feel that if the exertions and sacrifices demanded of us at times seem burdensome, we ought to remember that the North Atlantic Alliance is not only an obligation which sovereign states have undertaken of their own free will, but also an insurance against the unspeakable horrors of a war which would destroy our civilization. So if I might conclude with a profession of my own faith, when the North Atlantic Treaty was first signed, I felt that this was the best, if not the only way of preserving the peace. And at the end of 5 years at the center of things, I am more than ever convinced that this is the truth. More than ever. But there must be no relaxation, as you yourself have said, Mr. President. We must be vigilant. There is no easy path to our goal. We must have hope in each other's future, faith in each other's purpose, and tolerance towards each other's shortcomings. And above all, we must be united, and then all will be well.
Thank you. This